2020 was certainly resilient, yes, as you say, but robust is probably a bit strong, as growth did slow in 2020 because we didn't have that uplift in Germany's defense budget as we did in 2019. And because of that, Europe's share of global spending did decline slightly, but it was still above 17%. Generally, Europe accounts for 17 to 18%, so the drop wasn't too significant. I think what was important in 2020 was that defense spending was maintained, that increases did continue. We've spoken about the measures as a proportion of GDP. Obviously, the 2020 figures are slightly distorted by COVID, which is why it's important to look at what happened up to 2020. So we did see that increase as a proportion of GDP for the last 6 years, since 2014. So I think that does show that recommitment to defense and that will to perhaps avoid those cuts that we did see in the wake of the past financial crisis. Looking forward, the major countries in Europe do seem to have continued their commitment to defense in 2021. We've seen France and Germany continue with their military financing programs and finance plan, respectively, and the growth that is built in there for 2021 does place Europe on a stronger footing. The primary driver behind 2021 growth in Europe will be that uplift in the UK's defence budget that was announced in November of last year, as Ben alluded to. But obviously it will all hinge on these plans going forward, and obviously we'll have the UK's defence budget released in the next week or two. The other thing that will also determine whether Europe is the fastest growing region will be what China decides to do with its defence budget, which is also upcoming in the next week or so. So if China does have a stronger growth than we've seen in previous years, sort of in the last 5 years where the growth has slightly slowed in China, and there are signals that China's budget might increase by slightly more this year. That slowdown that we saw last year was amidst a slowdown in the economy as the pandemic was just starting in coming through in March last year in China. So if there is that acceleration in China's spending, then that might affect the figures, but we will wait and see what happens in the coming weeks. Thank you.